Good morning, students. So I'm welcoming you for the second chapter, that is input output memory devices. As we learned from the first chapter, that is fundamentals of computers, we must know how exactly these devices are going to work. Definitely most of us will be in a very confusion state that how these devices are going to work. So that we have to learn now. So starts with the contents of this particular chapter. So first starting with types and purpose of input devices, types and purpose of output device, memory devices, storage devices and cache memory. These are the contents were there in this particular chapter. Let me start with types of computers. Let me start with input device. An input device is used to feed the instruction into the computer. So to transfer any data from user into the processor, we need a device. Such devices are called as input devices. This device is capable of converting user entered format into computer understandable format, which is recognized by the computer. A computer has several input devices like keyboard, mouse, joystick, scanner, OMR, MICR, OCR, BCR, light pen, trackball and many more. So according to the user's necessity, we can use the proper input device to transfer the data from user understandable format to computer understandable format. So this device is used to accept the data from the user and store it into the processor. So this is what input device. The name itself says you that input device, transferring the information into the processor from user understandable format to computer understandable format. Now these are all the examples. You can see the pictures: keyboard, webcam, mouse, microphones, scanners and so on. Still plenty of input devices are there. So these are the few images I have shown you. Next, we'll start with standard input device called keyboard. See, it is the most commonly used input device, specially meant for character user interface format. Alphabets and number type of data can be transferred using this device. So, it is a mechanical typewriter. It has alphanumeric keypad, functional keypad, punctuation keypad and special keys keypad too. Generally, it has 101 to 104 keys. Sometimes nowadays multimedia keyboards has more number of keys, but a standard keyboard must have 104 keys. So each and every key perform its operations. There we have plenty of options like uppercase character, that is capital letters, lowercase characters like small letters. If you hold a shift key, reverse character will be printed. Once we press caps lock key, automatically everything will be printed in capital letters format, nums lock, space bar and so on. So using all these combination of keys, we can transfer character or number type of data into the computer system. So this keyboard, once we transfer the data, it will be translated with the help of ASCII values. ASCII means American Standard Code for Information Interchange. So using ASCII code, we can transfer the data and computer will recognize the data which is entered by the user. This is what the standard input device, that is keyboard. So I told you already, it uses character user interface formats. Then we'll go for this another input device called as a mouse. A mouse is a mechanically operated user serial engine. It's an input device. Mouse is also one of the standard input device, specially used for movement of pointers on the screen. Once we move the mouse at the bottom of the surface, automatically the same direction and movement will be carried on the monitor screen. So using this pointer device, easily we can point out the options. So that's why it is called as pointing device. So mouse generally used for graphical user applications. That's why it is called as GUI, graphical user interface device. We can also draw some designs over here. Pictures can be drawn. We can select the options. This particular device is specially meant for menu driven programs. Menus can be selected easily. So nowadays almost all the softwares are performing its operations with the help of menus, because to make that particular software user friendly. So selection option is very easy with the help of this particular device called mouse. See, in mouse there are two types of mouse. One is mechanical mouse, another one is optical mouse. So in early days we used mechanical mouse. There the technology used is, at the bottom of the mouse we find a rubber ball. So it will make contact with two rollers. Two rollers represents direction of movement and position of movement. How far we are dragging at the surface of this table. So if we drag on the surface of the table or a mouse pad, automatically same distance will be carried on the monitor too. So one roller represents the direction of motion and another roller represents the displacement, dimension, distance, how far we are moving at the bottom. So using that technology, mouse operates in mechanical mouse. In another type of mouse, that is optical mouse, laser beams are used. So laser lights are used. With the help of that laser light, we can select the contents. We can move the pointer on a screen wherever we want. So these are the two types of mouse we used. So this input device is more accurate and has no moving parts. This use of laser is used to detect movement. So it is also one of the input device. We can also call it a standard input device. Wherever we use computers, there we use, along with keyboard, mouse also one of the standard input device. Next, we'll move on to another input device called as joystick. See, joystick is an input device specially meant for controlling the contents. It is also called as control panel. It is specially meant for to play the video games. In mobile cameras, we'll use joystick. So, trucks, underwater animated vehicles, surveillance cameras, and in many more places we'll use this particular device called as joystick. So, generally it will move in all the four directions. The function of joystick is similar to the mouse. So, in case of mouse we can also move diagonally, but here it's not like that, only four directions we'll use. So, it is a control panel. So next we'll move on to OMR, Optical Mark Reader or Recognizer. So it is very important input device nowadays, because most of the multiple choice question